Happy Monday. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Great to see you. I am sorry I bailed out on you on Friday. Food poisoning is no joke. Why did I think it was a joke? Why did I think I was bigger than food poisoning? Wow. We won't say too much about it. If you have had it, you already know. It was not a day to run bingo. I am so sorry about that, but I am very happy to see you this Monday morning. Beautiful, sunny spring day this Monday morning. Happy spring, everybody. It feels like it here. I hope it feels like it where you are too. I am happy to be back. I had a great show for you Friday, and it is not lost. We are going to run bingo this coming Friday night, which will be, let's see, Monday, Tuesday. Help me out. What day will it be on Friday? I can't see the calendar even with my glasses on. We will be running bingo, fine art themed bingo, this coming Friday night. So if you have your cards, great. If you still need cards, look in the body of this video, the description, for a link to where you get your cards, and we will just be playing cross off when I call the thing bingo on Friday night, looking at some really unusual, unexpected, in a lot of cases quite unknown, and such talented fine artists. So a lot of inspiration on Friday night coming for us. In the meantime, Kirsten, great to see you. Robin, great to see you. I was in Robin's dreams last night. What does it mean? I always want to know what it means. I feel that it usually means something, and I'm hoping something good, right? I was on Project Runway. That must be good. That must, so stressful though, so stressful. Would you ever want to be on Project Runway? I mean, I have a degree in sewing costumes, and I would still not want to be on Project Runway. They give you like a plastic, Dixie cup, or two of them, right? And like a garbage bag, and they want you to make an evening gown or a bridal. I mean, it's like always so awful, isn't it? It's a great show, but it's always incredibly stressful. Cosmic Coyote, I'm glad to see you. Doreen, great to see you. Becky, great to see you. It is a gorgeous day in Indiana. Fantastic. Starting the Monday off right. Christine, great to see you in Brockport, New York. Heidi, Goedemorgen, Eva. I always say good morning, but it's not morning in Europe. Good to see you. Tara, great to see you. Linda, great to see you. Happy New Week. That's right. The guy that I always used to bump into, I'm sure I've told you this before, but it's so sweet. I haven't seen him lately. I haven't gone lately to the Goodwill outlet where you buy by the weight. I used to always say, good morning, Ray, and how's it going? He'd say, thank God for another day. And I think, that is so nice, isn't it? Every day, even rainy days and miserable, gloomy days, he was always so happy for another day. I hope he's still doing well. I'll have to go down and check. Crystal, great to see you. Oh, is it Friday the 13th? Oh, no. Well, I will not be emptying an entire really old container of capers, including the brine, which I used as salad dressing, onto a bed of spinach of questionable date this week, so that I won't end up with food poisoning again. Although it was a great diet, I lost about 12 pounds, but some of it was exercise, of course, just over the weekend. Amazing, but not the way to do it, obviously. Just a side fringe benefit. Joyce in Pennsylvania, great to see you. Hello from Matea Roach's hometown, Trophy. Okay, is this a reference? I'm super dimwit. Is this a reference to the Kentucky Derby? It can't be, right? Can't be. By the way, did you watch the Kentucky Derby? I'm not a big racing person, but I have to say I got so sucked into that. My mother sucked me right into watching all of that lead up to it, and I just about died. I was already having all kinds of body problems. I just about died when this horse, right, what was his name? I think Rich Strike, came from the way, way, way back, weaving his way through all the other horses right across the finish line. They said it was the second most, however you put, whatever the superlative is, long shot, right? It was like the second greatest long shot of all time. It was a great thing to see. I lost my mind, and I don't even know about horses or racing. I'm not, unlike my daughter and my sister, and both of my sisters and my mother, I'm not a horse person, but it was exciting. I hope that if you were interested, you were able to catch it. Cats Gallery, great to see you. Barbara in upstate New York, great to see you. Karen, great to see you. And Cindy, good morning. Oh, I am better. It was a great race, wasn't it? Exciting. 2 minutes of excitement. I am better. I'm still a bit woozy and unsteady, I have to say. I tried to go to the gym this morning and I just was still feeling a bit woozy. So I'm gonna go this evening. I don't want to lose that great momentum. Crystal says the young Jeopardy winner. Really? She won 23. I heard about that. I forgot. That is so funny. How great is that? How old is she? She is quite young, isn't she? She's like in her 20s. That's amazing. That is amazing. You know, I'm going to have to check this out because it's always been a family story for us that my Aunt Joan, whose necklace this is, who passed away about 6 years ago, university professor, English. She was, teaching for over 60 years at Salve in Newport. We've always said in our family, according to her, that at that time, like in the 60s, 70s, she was the longest running contestant on Jeopardy, and she went out on a Wizard of Oz question because she knew nothing about popular culture, movies, or anything like that. Just very highbrow music, art, not popular movies. So forever on, it was been like forbidden in our house to say like Judy Garland or reference a song from The Wizard of Oz or any of the people who were in it because it was always like super taboo. But it seems like this girl has probably usurped her. Probably many people usurped her in between, if the story is even true. But I got to read more about that. I'm real curious to find out who this hotshot is. Sounds amazing. Oh, no way. The odds on that horse were 80-1. I mean, who would have bet on a horse but the thing is, they just didn't know about this horse, right? They entered the horse like a week before the race, and they just didn't know how the horse would perform in different situations. But not knowing is a bit of a big question mark, isn't it? Knowing that horses are, affected by drones and planes and people and noise and whatever, is one thing, but they didn't know anything about this horse, which makes you think, well, that is a giant possibility. There's no strikes against the horse because he hasn't been tested in any way. I would have thought the odds would be better for a horse that they know very little about. It was a feisty horse, too. It was not the most endearing horse because as soon as he won, he started like attacking the companion horse brutally, like trying to savage him, and he wouldn't stop. I know his blood was pumping and all that, but my favorite part of the Kentucky Derby, the part that I didn't know before, and if you know, this is like, a common sense to you, but I didn't know that every horse gets to approach like the stall in the beginning of the race with the companion horse, which is like, I guess, a buddy, a friend from home, and like a really subdued horse. And in many cases, the companion horse had like beautiful flowers and braids in their hair, like matching, just beautifully decorated, unlike the racing horse, right? All business. But the companion horses, you could tell, just had a different nature, or sometimes like different style horse, right? Not like a thoroughbred. Just beautiful, like low key buddies. And I thought, how cute is that? They're like walking over to this tense situation with their best friend, all decorated and dressed up for the event. It's a bit like sweet, and it's really beautiful, I thought. It was a bit emotional. I thought it was just so sweet. It was a really fun event. Cindy said, my grandson put $2 on the winning horse. He's very excited. Fantastic. That is so cool. That is so cool. So the return will be 160? Is that how it works? Interesting. How fun is that? It was fun. I'm going to get started with commentary before it gets late and I lose my energy. This is the first time I've been on with anything for a while. So happy Mother's Day belated to everybody yesterday, whether you were celebrating yourself as a mother or you were celebrating your own sweet mother. What a special day. I was able to go out for sushi with my mom and my sister. I think that's what might have brought me back a little bit. Couple of ginger pear martinis. I don't make good decisions, especially on holidays, especially in sushi restaurants. But I hope it was a beautiful day for you. We really enjoyed ourselves here. Could have felt a hair better, but good enough. Good enough to sit up in a restaurant. Good enough for me. Lynn, good to see you. Good morning. Super warm in Tucson. You finished your first primitive punch needle large rug, 24 by 42. That is large. Congratulations. That is a feat. And now that is past, you know that you can do anything, Spidey. You can climb right up the wall and do whatever the next thing is. That is a feat and a half. I've been working on this piece. I did this at my mother's. This was the piece of like, this is a day's work here, not a hard project at all. But I'm going to be offering this. This was the free pattern, right? If you got the swatch set this month, this pattern came on fiber tape. I'm putting this together as a kit for beginners too. I really wanted to hook it. I haven't gotten to these last little corners yet. That's not part of the design. But It's all done in primitive colors. That light is not good on my monitor, but very 1980s colors that you know I like. The sort of dusty rose stripies and the Wedgwood blue. And I think I'm going to call him 1985 Cat. I was calling him Staffordshire Cat, but I think I'm going to call him 1985 Cat because he's really got all those colors of that particular year. But I put him together in real traditional rug hooking colors, and I used a few different techniques, some directional hooking. I put some interrupted stripes on him that was not planned, right? Something that you just figure out by eye. Some difficult little features with the whiskers and the eyes, and then I did kind of a Bargello background to get some different colors in it, and some solids too, just get some speed and traction. But I thought as a beginner pattern, this would be a really easy pattern to do. Very fast, very satisfying, and trying a few different techniques, particularly with directional hooking. So this could be a really easy one. Oh, April, you'll have to see the Kentucky Derby, you mean? Um, so we're going to put this out this week. I'm going to put this out as a class, and I'll probably offer it once a month for like 2 or 3 months, just at intervals. And if you order it, you get the kit with the wool that's all hand dyed and everything too. But I'm real happy with him. I'm not sure about the color of the collar, but I'm leaving it for now. I really wanted to stick with the sort of 80s colors, those traditional, because they are very prim colors too, primitive. Real happy with him. He was a nice, fast project to do. I've got a lot of other projects going, but I'll show them to you because I've got a vacation coming up. We're not going to talk about that yet, but it's my yearly trip to the Cape for over 2 weeks. So I'm going to figure that out and figure how often I can come to you while I am out there. In the meantime, I'm also switching gears with the Design Light class this month. I was really leaning on Henri Rousseau, but I decided that him alone is not going to make a very fluffy class. A lot of beautiful jungle stuff, just beautiful summery atmosphere. I think I'm going to try to put him in with some other artists for kind of a jungle theme. Maybe the following month, we're at a higher height of the summer and the heat and all that. But I was finding, looking at his work, I was finding it too difficult to come up with enough exercises and games in class to come up with, I like to say in my head, 10 or more, 10 being minimum, composition ideas that you might like and walk away with and do. And I was having a hard time with him alone, with his body of work being very, not contained, but a lot of similar things happening, right? So very good for picking out tropes and design ideas and motifs, but not great for variety. So, although he is great, and I'm still wanting to go back to him, I'm going to figure out how to make that class a bit fuller. And in the meantime, I'm going to do, for this coming month, design like my favorite artist, Marc Chagall. And I love Chagall for his whimsy, for his joy. He always has this sort of whimsical slash sad, all that heritage, that Jewish heritage. We'll talk about his personal life too, about sadness turning into joy and bringing art in, bringing light in with art. We'll talk about his important stained glass windows. He did a lot of such touching and stylized religious art. Very modern and colorful, very light. He's my favorite. So I think it's time to do him, to look at him. We have so many ways that we can go. If you're thinking about goats in the sky, that's Chagall, right? If you're thinking about puzzle pieces and grooms flying over their brides backwards to swoop in for a kiss, that's Chagall. It's such happiness. It's such light. It's light. It's light-hearted lightness. I think it's a good time for him. So let's do that. Oh, thanks, Kirsten. I should not be doing cats. You are the cat person. He was the low-hanging fruit. That's where I'm at right now. Nancy, great to see you. Yours was called Corky. That is a great name. Ours is called Pitter Pat. My favorite of our cat, my favorite cat was Pie Wicket. He's one of ours. We named him after the movie Bell, Book, and Candle. But I had a cat called Lunchbox when we lived in the Netherlands, and her sister was not Lintball, Sandwich and Lunchbox. Those are my little beauties. I love Pitter Pat now, but she's not really my cat. She prefers the children, and she scoffs at me. So I did a different kind of cat altogether, thinking about the chintz cats or the Staffordshire cats, and just figuring out how to add stripies and ornament to the body of the cat without getting so abstracted that there's no color sort of commonalities anymore. So just a play piece, a good sampler piece for beginners or for people who just feel like cooking something. We can do it together, and I'll be announcing that soon. Never too many cats, if you say so. I have enough when she wakes me up at like 3 in the morning. I have one too many cats, but I'm not as kind these days as other people are. I still have 2 young kids at home, and ever since then, my feeling toward animals is like just more eyes looking at me that want something, just more eyes. I love my pets, of course, but it's just more eyes staring at me all the time. I guess that'll change as I get older yet again, right? So today, what I was doing was I was so laid up. I was doing a lot of looking at stuff online when it worked. It's not good to look at stuff when you're nauseous. I did the best I could, trying to see what was up, what was around, what was for sale, what was up for bid on the many different websites. Now you have one called Cocoa Puff. That is so cute. Isn't it funny when you put your last name with your cat and then you bring the cat to the vet? And it's like, it's a crazy sentence you have to say when you check your animal in. I was looking at this morning eBay. Well, this is what this morning's show is about. Focusing just on some eBay rugs that I found that I thought we hardly ever do this. I used to do this and record them for videos that were not live videos. Let's look at some videos together in slideshow format. Some rugs that are available on eBay currently, and except for the one that I bought. Sorry about that. I'll show you when we come to it. Couldn't resist. Let's look at them and say, what's good about them? What's unique? I'm not going to say what's bad about them. What's unique about them? Which ones are worth helping out? Which ones have the right price attached? Which ones are truly unique and special? So we should be doing this more often because these are rugs that are out there for sale, waiting for somebody to snatch them up, that have different degrees of needs, right? Some none at all, some a lot of sort of DIY help, right? Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation help. So let's look at, Lynn says, your cats are Loki, Gizmo, and Draco. That is so funny. They always have funny names, don't they? And when they don't have funny names, they have actual names like Jeffrey or Charles. That's still funny because you look at their little face and then they have this human, they're always funny. They are always funny. Bonjour, you're in Quebec, Dominique. Good to see you. Welcome. Very happy to see you. Love those names. So funny. So I'm going to switch to a slideshow format now. Let's look at some of the rugs that are currently on eBay, right? So this is like a land race. If I bring up a rug and you love it, I'm just saying probably most of these rugs will be gone by the end of the day today because about 400 more people will watch the show when they come home from work. No pressure, right? No pressure. Don't buy things. I'm going to say this right now in seriousness. Don't buy things that you are not sure that you want. Don't have seller's remorse. You are not at the checkout counter and you need to grab 20 different kinds of gum. It's not like that, right? There'll be more beautiful rugs. If one that you see right now is not available, there'll be more beautiful rugs because this is what we're doing this week. We're looking at rugs that are for sale, and I think we should do this on a regular basis because your collection, even if you're only in the market for rugs that are, for example, $40 with free shipping, then that's your category of rug, and you'll find some beauties in there. It depends on how much you helicopter over the scene, right? Most of the scene is on live auctions, like the live auctioneer, sellers, and eBay, and sometimes Etsy. This morning, we're looking at eBay alone. So let's come over to Monday, and let's start with looking at some of these rugs together. You give me your comments, too, because we are all informed and knowledgeable people right now about rugs, right? Nobody needs to tell us, viewers of this show, whether you're a beginner or you've even hooked before, nobody needs to tell you the basics of rug hooking. If you've been watching this show, you've been hearing the conversation, you already know that this rug is worth what two people have to want it to begin with and what one person wants it for more than the other. And their want might depend on actual value. It might depend on some kind of nostalgia heartstring thing that's happening, right? But it is not a set price, right? These are not, we are not looking at rugs that necessarily have the right nice number price attached to them, right? Their worth really depends on who wants them and what somebody will pay for them. So, for example, in this case, this is switching my glasses. The title of this rug, if you are already in love, is Vintage Crazy Folk Art Hooked Rug Rag Rug Primitive, 31 by 38, colorful geometric. And it is sold by a seller called Serendipity, except it goes SER-EN-DIPITY. DIP-I-TY. That's a lot. That might be a rewind, I know. Vintage Crazy Folk Art Hooked Rug, Rag Rug Primitive. This is true. This is me talking now. It says lots of colorful shapes, geometric, could use a good cleaning, 31 by 38, $49.49. Lots of colorful geometric shapes. Please use pictures as an inclusive part of the description. Colors can vary on monitors. She's happy to combine shipping. She's been selling for over 22 years. What can we say about this rug? There's not a lot of text. It does look dirty. So let's look at another version of it. This is an original rug. This is not a commercial pattern. This is an older rug. I would say this is a late 19th century, more likely early 20th century. In my mind, I would place this in the 1920s. This is a scrap rug where somebody kept running out of material and switching to different materials, patterned materials. Look at this beautiful border. It looks like a black watch plaid on a white, that dark inky navy with the evergreen red and the mustard yellow on a white ground. Beautiful plaid border. Crystal says, I got a lovely hooked rug last week in Nova Scotia, likely a Garrett pattern hooked on burlap. Oh, post a picture of it if you can. Maybe you did and I missed it while I was laying on my back, but I would love to see it. This geometric rug has, you can see there's loss. You can see there's a lot of loss. It looks to me like it's hooked in a number 4, maybe a number 3, but probably a number 4. Lots of bright colors, big mashup of different color families. This is the back, right? So it's in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of loss here and there. This is the kind of rug where there's been a border left on and it has been sewn down in the back. Let's look at the first picture again. So a beautiful rug. What does it have going for it? Well, the price is great at $49.99. I'm trying to see if she put shipping. It might be that shipping is free for this one. I don't remember. I didn't put shipping. So it might be that includes shipping. It looks like a very lightweight rug. I love it too. It's beautiful. It would be great on a wall. Can you imagine this behind a hutch or behind a bed head, right? Really mellow and lovely. I like how, Doreen says, I like how the red draws my eyes around the circle. Absolutely. Red will always do that. Travel with you from one spot to the next. I love the red too. I love the verticals. I love the single little stripies in here. You can see they used a lot of textured plaid, herringbone patterned wools, like suiting wool. There's going to be a difference of weight from one block to the next. I love the crazy variety of Art Deco colors. That makes me think that somebody got a hold of some RIT dyes and did a lot of dyeing with those, because there's a lot of very mellow deco colors. It is a lovely piece for that price. Very good buy. Hey Joy, good to see you. So we're going to come to our next piece here. I want to also note that I did not change the picture. I did not modify or color alter the picture for our slideshow, because I don't want you, if you're hopping on eBay, to be misled by me improving the colors by fooling with the photo. I didn't do that with any of them. These are the photos that the sellers provided. I did no alteration. Normally I would pop the colors in this because I can tell it's like an evening or an early morning and the colors aren't full, but I didn't. So make sure you look at the seller's pictures if you're interested. This one is called Antique Hooked Handmade Diamonds, and diamonds is in caps, Bright Pattern Square, Old Estate Knot. K-N-O-T. That word doesn't belong, but it is in the description. $135 free shipping. 39 by 36, right? So almost a square. This rug is in Centerville, Massachusetts. That means Cape Cod. I'm sorry. Nope. That's the next one. Forget I said that. I don't know where this rug is. It ships from the U.S. and it is free shipping. So 135. The description says, beautiful antique rug shows where. I'll say, estate find measures 39 by 36. That is it. What does that description tell me? That without being offensive at all, that description tells me the person who's selling this probably cleaned up at a yard sale or does estate cleanouts and does not know what they're holding. The fact that they use the word not tells me that right off the bat. What's bad about this rug? This rug has a lot of damage, right? A lot of damage. You can see that the back is super bright and lovely. You can see also that they've blanket stitched around the edge of it. I think that's because they use that early technique of finishing the rug by folding the burlap under and hooking through 2 layers right around the border. And then to make it further more secure, they blanket stitched around the edge. Now that's very unusual. So let me come back to this photo. So what's good about this rug? You can see there's a lot of damage. It's like either the furniture has eaten pieces of it, or animals have, or moths have. There's a lot of damage. What's good about this piece, color-wise, this is astonishing. This is an old piece. I would absolutely believe this to be a 19th century piece. The colors are exquisite. It's a very unusual, hey Anne, thank you. It's a very unusual color palette for this age. I don't think that it's a commercial pattern. It could be a pattern, she can come in, that somebody did at home. It's a very simple grid pattern, but this person was very skillful in that they did the kind of squiggle lines. It looks like rickrack trim, doesn't it? But it's done in rainbow colors. You can also see in the patterning that they've done, this is not a complete hit or miss. They have created a pattern. They've used some patterned fabrics. Look in the center diagonal at that brown, right? That is certainly a patterned fabric. In the top left-hand corner, there's like a blue and white that is, again, a patterned fabric. They have done a lot of good things with the repetition of colors. It looks like a textile. It is very fine. It is very fragile. I don't know that I would start restoring a piece like this, but what I would do with a piece like this is mount it or have it mounted, pin it, get it into some kind of a shadow box or some kind of frame where it is not hanging on 2 points, but hanging on at least the weight of across the top of it on the best side, right? And just safely keep it displayed somewhere where you can look at it and say, this is a textile like an old anything, right? And it's got damage like an old anything. But this one is exceptionally lovely. And it is exceptionally well done. So 135, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're going to get that for something in this state, because I think most people are looking at a piece like this with the thought, can I restore it? I mean, you could restore it. And Judy Taylor, certainly the person to go to for help with doing this yourself. It is going to take replacing fabric in the middle in several places and on the border in several places. The bottom right being the obvious one. It's going to take replacement, sewing on patches in the back, sewing through. It's going to take a lot. For me, I think it is so exquisite the way that it is. It would be a beautiful piece to hang if you can live with the damage and just know there was probably a chair leg on it that somebody ripped away at a certain point. It has done service. It has done its time. It now deserves to be revered as a thing of beauty. I don't know that a piece this age and this damaged, that is an unknown piece and not from your family, you need to think about restoration, but certainly display. It's a beautiful piece. It's worthy of being snapped up. It is a high price. It might be worth putting an offer in for something like that. I think it's a little on the high side for the amount of damage and that size. This is another nice piece. The title of this is Antique Early 1900s Hand-Hooked Folk Art Rug Country Farm House. $195 plus $13.25 for shipping. This is the piece that is in Centerville, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So it comes from a seller called Cape-Estate. That is telling me that this person does estate sales, and they pulled this out of a house. They don't know a lot about it. Fresh from the local Cape Cod estate, we offer you this antique early 1900s hand-hooked folk art rug country farmhouse. It is in used condition with wear, right? That is a cut and paste statement. It measures about 27 by 49. It is unmarked. Please check all of the photos for details. They are part of the description. Okay, so this person doesn't know anything about this rug. What do we know about this rug? It could be a commercial pattern. It could be a blue nose pattern. It could be an heirloom pattern. If it's a commercial pattern, I would think it was a Garrett blue nose pattern. That would be where my first thoughts would go. It could also be an original pattern. This is a Cape Cod type house. This could be somebody's house on Cape Cod. It looks like there might be water in the distance, or else they just ran out of sky color several times. They did some beautiful gulls, surprisingly in black. You usually see gulls in white against a blue sky. They did that a little bit different. They've got some beautiful Cape Cod colors in this piece. You can see the darker ground leading in has those kind of clay sienna type colors going into a little path, right? And then the green, the sagey green heading up toward the house. Beautiful textured color on the house, right? They've done the roof in, let me bring you in closer, like some kind of a black and teal tweed. There is a lot of color changing here. You can see strips of loss. Those are easy to replace, right? Those are quite easy to replace. Even if you need to patch, those are easy to replace. Look at the colors of the house itself. You can see how they even ran out of the house color. So this in its own right is a very scrappy piece in a good way. Look at the color change on the top of the chimney, right? Going from that chimney brick color to the pink. Look at that plume coming out of the chimney that is not a cloud, right? That looks like it's actually coming out of the chimney. It is pretty. It is sweet. It is quaint. It is colorful. It has that Cape feeling to it. This is the back of it. The colors are very good on the back as well. So looking at, I'm going to go back to the front, looking at the back and then at the front again. Oops, wait a minute. Sorry about that. It's not a lot of color loss over the years. There's not a lot of damage either. It's in quite good shape. They had some extra colors and they popped on 4 bar borders, like just bands of color, so a nice rainbow border. Look at what they did in the trees with a little bit of shaping. This is a very naive, folky job. Even in the green tree that kind of shadows the house, right above the house, they've done a little bit of confetti hooking, a few different colors, a little bit of confetti, thinking, how do I shade it out? How do I make it look more interesting? Very naive job, but in the true folk style. Beautifully done, very, very sweet. Great color placement, great balance of color, lovely palette, right? Lovely light palette. This is a great piece. I think $195 plus $13.25 shipping is too much, but it could be that you could get in touch with the seller. I'm certain that the seller does not know this rug or rugs. So it is well worth, if there's not a make an offer deal, I would come up with an offer for example $75 for this rug. That would be, for me, what I would pay for this rug. Unless you have fallen in love with it, then it's worth more to you. That's what it's worth to me, because I like it and I find it sweet and there's a lot of charm, but I don't need it. So I'm putting a value on it that I think is comparative to other rugs in this condition of this age that I believe to be original patterns that are not expertly done, and we are not looking for other rugs by the same artist, right? This is probably a one-off or from somebody that did a few rugs, but did it really sweetly. And if it matches your house and if it speaks to your heart, then it's a good rug for you to try to snap up. So moving on to the next one. This one is a very different rug. This is a little bit dark, but again, I'm not altering the photos here. Title for this one, Antique, Handmade, which is one word, Hooked Rug, comma, Original Design. So this rug is $65 with, it sounds like a good price, $45 shipping. That's a lot. This rug is in Ramona, California. If you're near this rug, it might be better to try to pick it up. The seller is called Purdy and Tracy, and that's P-E-R-D-Y-A-N-D-T-R-A-C-Y. A little bit more information in this description tells me this seller's a bit more knowledgeable. This is a wonderful, authentic antique hooked rug. It is probably from the 1920s to 1940s era, and I have to agree with that. I would say on the earlier side, I would even say like 1900 to 1920s. I don't think it's 1940s, but it's earlier. It is quite heavy. It measures 29.5 by 58. It's a very nice size. You know what that makes this? That makes this a hearth rug. 58, right? That's a very wide rug. That's a hearth rug. So just realizing the size of it, I'm going to say I think this rug is possibly 1890s to 1910. That would be the years that I would put on it, knowing it was made for a hearth, to fit in front of a hearth. That would be my guess. Again, I'd have to see the rug. So he says, I believe it's probably an original design. I'm going to come back to that. Hooked with wool in black/brown, gray, maroon, orange/gold, green, yellow, and top. Burlap is strong, no holes or tears. Top binding has been stitched using twill tape, colors are still vivid, may have overall surface toning from use. The wool loops all look uniform. The orange/gold wool has much more noticeable fraying of the loops than the other colors, but does not distract. Well, that would happen with the use of early N-line dyes, right? Some will eat up the material sooner than others and be stronger than others. Some will work as protein and fortify the material, and others will let it fall apart a lot sooner. So that will always happen in a rug like this of this age. What is good about this rug? It's still a good price. Even full price, $65 plus $45. For a rug this age and this size, that's still a good price. He's saying it doesn't have any holes and that the burlap is still strong. Remember, if you buy any rugs, remind the seller, even if you think that they know, to roll your rug with the loops out. Because if they roll it backwards and the backing splits on the way to you, good luck with eBay and PayPal trying to get your money back, right? I like the colors, but it reminds me of intestines. Well, now that you say it, it really does. It really does. What I like about this rug, I think that this is not an original pattern. I think this is a Garrett Blue Nose. It could even be a Rittermore. These sort of geometric / Deco Nouveau patterns, the fusion, particularly with leaves, we see from early Canadian commercial companies. Like Rittermere, like Garrett Blue Nose. So I don't think that this is an original pattern. And if it is, it's copied from a commercial pattern. I don't think it is. It's not impossible, but I'm not sure about that part of it. What I do like about it is it's clearly a scrap rug. There has been so much carefulness in executing this rug to get the balance of color right. And in the center, they fully understood that they did not have enough of any one color. Hey, Lisa! To execute the middle, and they did a classic marble cake, and it really looks good. There's a little bit of marble cake in the white border, a little bit of ivory to vanilla, a little bit of change, but that center intestines / marble cake really, for whatever color association it has, whatever connotation that sort of evokes, it is a good idea. It's probably the color of the coats that they had to cut up on hand. And it is just a great demonstration, an example of people using what they have in this mizzy-mazzy, hit or miss, marble cake way to cover the open space that they couldn't cover with a solid color. So in that regard, I think it's a really interesting early rug. I love that it is absolutely a hearth rug. Those are becoming like, as scarce as hen's teeth. He's showing you in this photo, the loops are a little bit dirty because without a doubt it was used. And you can see there is more fraying to the orange gold color. And it isn't distracting. If you think about, if you have this on the floor, which I'm not going to recommend for or against because he's saying it's a very sturdy rug still and that the burlap has no problem. It's still a very old rug. I mean, I have no problem with putting a rug like this on the floor if it's not in a high traffic area. I think much safer, of course, on the wall. But regardless of whether it's on the wall or on the floor, you're probably not standing with your nose against the surface of it this close. So if you're standing even a foot or two back, this is not going to be a super noticeable problematic thing for you, right? This is something that you can probably handle. This is what the back of the rug looks like. And you can see it is neatly done. It's a little bit packed. It's very, very thick. Looking at the back of this makes me really sure that this person was cutting their pieces with scissors or ripping, because these really are thick pieces to be working with. This must have been a hard rug to put together because, yeah, really thick pieces, but really beautiful rug. Very different. Oh, hey, Denise, good to see you. Oh, Jill, good to see you. So here comes another one, another absolute beauty. The title of this one is American Hand Hooked, CA, as in circa, 1880, 2 feet by 4 feet. That is the title. And this is from a seller called G. and I'm going to spell it, ANAVIAN. So, American Hooked Rug, circa 1880, 2 feet by 4 feet. And the seller says, good condition, even wear. The seller thinks that it's age appropriate, as all sellers will say. That's a kind of get out of jail free phrase for saying it's old, so expect it to be imperfect, but not really pointing out a lot of specific problems with it. She says, a few holes and abrasions to jute backing. And then to look at the photos. So again, you have to be careful with these because She's showing you what she sees. There can be more to it, but this is an old rug. This is, for me, this is not an 1880 rug by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I would put it later. It could be an end of the 20th century rug or an early 20th century rug, but I don't think it's an 1880s rug. It could also be a commercial pattern. I'm not sure. We know that the early companies and Frost were doing geometric patterns, but we know it was much more common for people in their kitchens to be using tools that they had, paper, postcards, straight lines, to be breaking things up into shapes, often reminiscent of quilt shapes because that was where their comfort level was. That's where the familiarity was in terms of design. This is really evocative of a quilt design. So this could easily be handmade. I'm not sure. It is a beautiful design. It does look, Kirsten, that's a great point. It looks like it was folded. That's a really good point. Oh, I was just looking at Lynn's comment. Up close is looking good, but does nothing for me. The last one, it was definitely a color problem. The intestines did me in, I have to say. Good thing I'm feeling better, right? Kirsten, you're making a very good point. It was certainly folded. Look at the middle right there. That's a little bit scary. I'm hoping that they're not folding it back up until someone buys it. So free local pickup for this. This rug costs $350. This is in New York City. There are 8 watchers on it. I'm not sure about the age. I certainly don't know. I would have to be standing right on top of it to be getting way more clues. What's good about this rug? What's not good about this rug? Number 1, it's been folded. Number 2, the price. What is good about this rug? It's an older rug, number 1. Not sure how old. Number 2, the colors are fantastic. The colors are over the top. This would be a great rug for a tabletop or the top of a hutch. You know, you got a prim thing going on. You got a couple candlesticks that you are not burning wax in. I mean, this could be beautiful with a little bowl on it, you know, real prim vignette going on. Try and find another rug with this color palette. It would be impossible. Wedgwood blue, sapphire blue, bluebird blue, blueberry blue, the light peach, light pink, cornflower blue. It is so, the palette is so beautiful. It has a beautiful universal geometric design. If you are also a quilter, this could be a beautiful piece to hang or to set near one of your quilts. This is a nice antique primitive, right? This is a nice piece of folk art. It is a big price too. Let's look at this a little bit closer up. So you can see that there is more peachiness, pinkiness. You can see on the top some of those whites aren't whites. They are mixed, right? So it's something that was patterned. What I love about this rug is where the blues ran out and they would use little stripes, little pippity pips of different colors of blue. It adds so, I'm falling in love with this rug right now. I really am. Lynn says it looks like quilting pattern blocks and pinwheels. Absolutely it does. It also looks a bit like a stained glass window with those 3-dimensional blocks coming towards you. Has a kaleidoscope quality. It's an absolute, I want this rug. I'm going to say it. I want this rug so bad now that I've been looking at it. This is what happens when you look for a while. These are the colors on the back, and you can see they, in terms of finishing, folded the cloth back. I was looking to see, I see a black line at the bottom. I'm wondering if that was commercial printing. It's hard to say. It's hard to see from this angle. You might be able to zoom better on eBay. A lot of work in here, very, very, very fine cut, right? This is not a wide cut rug. This is like the equivalent of a 3. I don't know how it was cut, but this is very fine. You can see in terms of finishing, they folded back the burlap, stitched it down, and also added twills. So it's got a little extra support. Let's look at the front again, knowing that there are 2 kinds of finishing on this rug. Yeah, it looks good. The border looks pretty good, all things considered. You know, it is, what's good about it, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? It's a beautiful piece of folk art. It's kind of a universal. You often find geometrics, but if you think about this in comparison to the crazy quilt kind of vintage one we saw in the first slide, they're very, very different. The color palette is much more controlled and contained in this, much more limited. For a more traditional house, this would be a way better rug to hang up. It really is a treasure. If you can afford it and you like it, I would ask about the folding situation. I would ask if you're having it shipped for them to roll it with the loops out, and see if you can find out any more in terms of close-up photos on the rug, because it is well worth having. If I had 350 sitting around, I think I would get it. just to look at it. It's a very relaxing rug to look at. Beautiful quilt crossover. Oops, sorry about that. So that brings us to this rug, which is a little bit different. This rug's been on eBay for a little while. This is title, Maine folk artist Nancy Scott, S-C-O-T-T, hooked rug, 33 by 24, plantation scene. $100 plus $43.95 expedited shipping, right? You can always ask the seller, how about standard, with tracking? The seller is Texas_4305, located in Austin, Texas. So I've seen this rug up for a while with, I think, 3 or 4 other rugs that were by this artist and either her mother or daughter. They were 2 artists in the same family. Nancy Scott, I know that she was featured in a long ago, not even sure it was Rug Cooking Magazine, it might have been News and Views, but she was featured in one of the early versions of Rug Cooking / News and Views before it was named Rug Cooking. So this is someone who was known to have worked in rug hooking, a nice piece to collect. The description says Maine folk are, for this price, right, for $100, and then maybe you can work on the shipping. Maine folk artist Barbara Merry, M-E-R-R-Y, hooked rug. Okay, so I think there's a cut and paste problem here. Hooked rug, 33 by 24. This hooked rug was created by Maine folk artist Nancy Scott. Okay, so there's a cut and paste problem there with the description. These are family members, but I'm not sure now. You'd have to ask the seller whether this is by Barbara Merry or Nancy Scott. The art depicts Jamaicans coming in from America learning new farming methods. Let me know if you have any questions. I have 2 Barbara Merry hooked rugs and 2 Nancy Scott, daughter of Barbara Merry, hooked rugs. So it might be that she still has these rugs, or that she hasn't changed the description of this. There were others. Sometimes when you collect one, you'd like multiple by the same family member. I think we have our answer as I look up and see NGS. So that's Nancy Scott for sure. So there is good provenance on this rug. It is a 33 by 24. It's not a small rug. If this is the only rug that's left out of the 4 known rugs, signed rugs by a known maker, I think it's probably because of the subject. Sometimes the subject of a plantation is not the kind of cozy subject that we are always looking for. Not to say that, some people don't want a more challenging subject or a different moment in time. This is an absolutely beautiful composition. And I'm guessing, again, that the subject is why maybe this one hasn't moved. This is very worthy of being bought for $100. This is a lovely piece of folk art. It's very sort of boho feel to it, very artfully done, nice busy border. There's only one photograph for this piece. So if you're interested in buying this, buy it because you like the colors, buy it because you like the feel. You know that this is an original composition, right? This is not a commercial composition. You know the person who made it. You can go on a rabbit hole quest for more info about the mother and daughter, about the subject, what plantation we're actually talking about here. It could be a lot of fun for $100. And again, I would try to work on that shipping amount because even putting it into a flat rate box or tube is going to cost less than $45. So that could be a conversation you could have if you're interested in having this. This is a great piece to start a collection with. It really is special, and it really is beautiful. Speaking of special and beautiful, this is such an odd piece. Now, when I came across this, I had searched for antique hooked rug. I thought, what is going on here? Somebody put a piece of cloth up or a tapestry. This is going to be irritating. It might even be a shower curtain. It's not. The title of this is Antique Vintage 1900s Hand Hooked Classical People Pictorial Rug Wall Hanging. 6 watchers, $375. Shipping $21.50. Seller _6PNE. Wait for it. I'm going to read you the description first. For sale, a unique vintage 1900s hand-hooked classical people pictorial rug hanging piece. Piece is like a work of art, so many details. Unfortunately, it has faded over the years and has a light top surface loop wear. Top hanging loops added so it can hang. Measures 37.5 by about 54 inches. As fine as a tapestry, but it's hooked. Bought it at an estate sale in Florida. Lady said her grandmother made it. Have no idea if that is true or a family story. Please view all photos, etc., etc. So let's view all photos. Now, I really was still doubting Thomas right here. So I looked at this one. I thought, no way, that's a shower curtain. And then I looked here and I went, wait a minute. That might be. It might be. I see some little nubbins that look like they could be rug hooking. And I'm thinking this could be earlier and it could be sewn, right, with like a little chopstick under it to make the loops. So I'm looking at this image thinking, yeah, this is interesting. I mean, it really does have a tapestry feel. You could see this thing on a castle wall, right? And I kept looking at the photos, and the more I looked at them, the more I thought, wow, this is like an epic subject. This definitely has a Renaissance feel to it. It is obviously not that age. It is hooked. I believe it to be hooked, right? Well, you form your own opinion when you look at the same photos that I'm looking at. But it has a sort of court subject, like, courtly subject. You've got like musicians. It looks like a court setting. Very regal, lots of symbols of wealth and royalty. I personally don't like the way that the hanging is done, but you could obviously go with it, change it, take the loops off, whatever you think. But you can see there is some fading on the back. This is the thing flipped over, so you're seeing the reverse and the colors the way they are now. It's not super troubling to me because the mellow colors on the front are also beautiful. And we'll look at the front again, but the fading seemed fairly even. It's not like a window was catching half of it and half of it is like bleached. They put up a lot of photos, a lot more than I'm showing you here. So it is super fine. It looks to me to be hooked in a very narrow cut, like a 3. It is like a tapestry. It has the kind of, I don't know what the picture is. This would be a question for my sister, and she just flew in from London like the day before yesterday and has been nonstop since then. But I will ask her if she recognizes the picture. I don't recognize it. But I think it's probably taken from a classical reference. It is very detailed, very involved. This is the back of it. So this was the piece, this is the picture that said to me, this really is hooked. You're seeing a little bit of the front and you're seeing the back, and that really does look like hooking. If this was sewn, it would be way more channel driven in the way that it looked on the back. It looks hooked to me. And every color sort of stops distinctly at the edge of that motif, and that is a sign of hooking and not sewing. So let's come back to the beginning again, and let's have one more look at it. Wait a minute, come down one more. This is a real mystery piece. If you like these kinds of subjects, it looks like, it's hard to tell in the middle. There's a man with a mandolin standing in front of some kind of fountain. It looks like a Garden of Eden type reference, right? There are minstrels. There are people in great finery. There are women sitting down, standing up. The man in the sort of red coat on the right. It's kind of courtly situation happening. There's a building in the background I can't quite make up. Lots of trees. It definitely has a unicorn tapestry feel to it, without a doubt. It is so fine that it's crazy. So, I mean, this is a hard one to call. Looking at this for me, the price that they have on this is $375, again, plus $21.50 shipping. A piece this size, this has been folded, right? But it doesn't look like there's any real damage. It's worth asking about. If you like this subject, I mean, this would be a great piece for over a rug. This would be a great piece for a music room, over your piano, something like that. This is an exquisite handmade piece. There's no doubt that this is worth $375. The person who's selling it has no idea where it came from, but this could be a piece that you find out in the future is an original piece, or possibly, or you figure out who the maker was, or that this was an important piece that belonged somewhere. This is a research project. $375 isn't a small amount. For something this size with this much work in it, I think it's an extraordinary bargain. Becky, exactly. It is so unique. If this went up at Sotheby's, you would be fully expecting this piece to go for $5,000, $6,000. It is like it is a tapestry, right? It's just done differently. It's done our way. So interesting, something to think about, depending on, where it takes you, something to think about. It is a very different piece. Let me bring you to our next piece. I'll maybe do one more, and then we'll break until next time. I'm trying to see what number I was on here. Where did I have you? There we go. So let's come over to, was this where we are? Nope. Back it up. There we are. Very different, right? So let's see. This is piece number 23. So the description of this rug is antique 19th century handmade hooked rug, original design. So we'll come back to that. This is $129, $24 expedited shipping from North Salt Lake, Utah. The seller is called Dutch Spice, one word, Dutch Spice. I didn't know the Dutch had any spice. Oops, did I say? No, I was born there, right? And I lived there, so I can say that. They don't really have spicy, flavorful food, in my opinion. But the seller is called Dutch Spice, so we're going to go along with that. Antiqued 19th century, handmade, hooked rug, original design. I bought this years ago from a friend who received it from her grandmother's estate. She had newspaper clippings from where she won prizes for her rugs, Pennsylvania made. My friend lived in an old farmhouse in Pennsylvania and used them on her floors. Original design, still bright colors, wear as you would expect, still beautiful. 41 by 28. Look at the pictures as part of the description, blah, blah, blah. So, I love that there was provenance on this. Karen, that last rug was exactly like a fairy tale. I mean, it really was something. And by the way, that rug and the blue geometric rug before it were the same price point, right? Very, very different rugs. Could not be more different. Completely different buyer for both of those two rugs. As with this one. I love the story that this rug had pedigree, but the story is that somebody's grandmother had it and somebody's grandmother said that somebody in the family thought she made it, and it's very hard to say this looks like a Garrett Bluenose to me completely. It could be that they were inspired by other people's rugs who were Garrett Bluenose, but this is exactly the way that commercial patterns looked in the late 19th century, 1900s, first decade of the 20th century. I'm not disputing that it is an early rug. I'm not sure that it's a 19th century rug, but it is a beautiful old rug. Has some lovely motifs. It looks to be in pretty good condition. Very Art Deco with that square rose, very Macintosh style rose, which makes me think it's a little bit later, right? Beautiful geometry here. Nice mix of severe geometrics with the soft scrolling, the roundness of the scrolls at the corners. Nice sort of dichotomy here. A nice mashup. Nice use of colors as well. Let's look at it a little bit closer up. There's some good things going on here. Ooh, cancel. Holy mackerel, I almost deleted the whole slideshow, honestly. You can see in the background here, she's done some beautiful hooking. With the scrolls, she's done some very nice graphic shading. And in the background, instead of running Mizzy Mazzy marble cake, she runs geometric, this maker. She's done it with both the background, the border, and the outer border. It's a very well-made rug. It's very pretty. There's a lot to be said for it. It is a does your heart love it rug kind of a rug. This is the back of it. You can see it's very neatly made. Anybody would be proud to have this down on the floor. It is lovely. Let's look at the front again. It is really sort of indicative, typical of its time. And you do get a lot of these geometric rugs, but it's always a question of, do I like the look of them and do I like the colors of them? This one's very gray heavy, right? There's a light gray, kind of dove gray border. And in the center, there's more of a mix of a middle gray to a dove gray. So some kind of unity of color in the background. The shading on the rose is exquisite. There's a little bit of shading on the leaves, which I think is interesting. A little bit of more graphic style shading on the scroll. And then those larger, bolder, clunkier maroon scrolls really echo the center of the rose, which is very poetic, right? Very sort of meaningful. Goes right back to the heart of the rug. But the detail on that is the kind of really graphic little paisley kind of pinstripe trim around each one of those. Really different. It's very bold, very graphic, very pretty. Seems to be in good condition. That last rug is one that the seller is not telling us a lot about condition. So make sure if any of these rugs that we're looking at, if you're interested in buying them, that you are asking the right questions. And for the ones that Kirsten so astutely pointed out, I completely missed, had clearly been folded. You want to ask about stuff like that because that's a really good indicator that the person who has it at this moment does not know how to handle it. And with these older rugs that we know for sure are on burlap backing, you know that they are brittle. And if somebody fools with them or cracks them or folds them the wrong way, they will just crack. And then you've got a split. And it's a split can be fixable if you have the stomach, the energy, the time, the money, the capacity in your head for that kind of a fix. But it'd be better if it didn't split after you bought it. So make sure that you tell them to roll them with the loops out and ask all the questions you can about the way that it's being stored. and about provenance, because sometimes they know something that they don't think to put in the description, right? They just don't know what sort of things people are looking at who are wanting to collect or restore. So let's do this again on Wednesday. I've got a lot more to show you. There were so many beautiful rugs of many different styles. I think it's worth looking at them for two reasons. We learn a lot about technique, about age, about style, about the technical part of hooked rugs and making, but we also are able to have this conversation about collecting. What makes sense to collect now? What is a good value? What is a bad value? What is something you should argue about? What is something you should ask about before you hand over the money? Because buying is an emotional thing, particularly with rugs, because even if we're talking about a commercial pattern, each one is special and unique. You will never find two that are alike, right? Even by the same person, same design. Sometimes with teachers, they've done multiple, same exact patterns, different each time. And you get emotional when you see something. It's a knee-jerk reaction to do, buy it now. You don't want anyone else to get it, right? You're panicked. But you have to be careful and ask the right questions first. You have terrible buyer's remorse, and it might kill your passion for collecting early on. So maybe with conversations like these, we can bring up, and together, bring up things that are important to say, and things that I don't think of that you say, look at that, that's folded. That's not okay. That needs to be brought up and addressed before they fold it and put it in a box for the mailman to stack, right? And then give to you with lots of splits in it. So we'll have another conversation like this on Wednesday, and look at another collection of rugs, right? I still have them in the slideshow. Hopefully be useful and be looking at some of those rugs that are on there if you're interested in having them. And remember, bingo night Friday night, making up for the bingo that I couldn't make last Friday. Fine art bingo on Friday, description, cards for sale in this video, right, in the description of this video. Thank you to Patreon members. I will be photographing more patterns for you this week. I'm getting everything set. I'm 2 days behind after being that sick. So I'll be putting everything up for you. New beginners class with 1985 Cat. New class this month, designing like Chagall. New patterns coming up to Patreon members first. Lots of new things happening. But in the meantime, I will be with you on Wednesday, and I will be with you on Friday for our bingo night. Take care and have a great... Oh, let me catch up. Hold on. I was going to... Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what's going on. Chrissy says, oh, I love doing these shows too. Oh, Sally says, late because I forgot the time zone. The time zone. Oh, no, you're kidding. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I wonder if rubbing some collagen lotion into the burlap would help, Sally says. I don't know. I'm going to leave that for someone else. I don't know. Becky says, I was just going to type that, Chrissy. Oh, nice. Sally says it revitalized stretched out stockings. Ooh, that's one to research. Let's come back to that. I have never heard of that. Which just means I have never heard of it, right? I have never heard of a lot of things, and I love to learn. So let me thank you. Thumbs up, please, for these videos. I'm going to look into that, and let's come back to that. Let's start the episode on Wednesday with that conversation and see if there's something to be found out there. It is nice to think about sort of refreshing and rejuvenating the rugs, but I think anything with any moisturizer is going to be deadly. So let me think on that. Oh, you're so welcome. Good. The thing is to learn and to brainstorm together. We all learn. Thumbs up. Thank you.